What's up, people? In this video, we are going to watch something by Tabitha Farrar. Somebody told me to look at her. I obviously have no idea who this person is, but orthorexia, this is a term that I hear thrown around a lot as if it's a bad thing. It's essentially like focusing on eating healthy foods and feeling bad if you don't. Like, oh my god, that's a disease now? All right. So I'm curious, I guess, because I've never actually seen a video that's dedicated only to that. So I will do this one. Not expecting anything good, to be honest with you. I guess the implication is like this is bad. It's all fruit and vegetables. I mean, it's not the best, but yeah. Anyway, whatever. Let's just watch this. If you guys have any other suggestions or recommendations, let me know. Leave me a comment.
Hey, so somebody asked me to do a video on orthorexia, and I think her specific question was, if a person is recovered from anorexia, then can they still have orthorexia, and does that mean that they're fully recovered, and things like that. Well, let's start with what orthorexia is. So orthorexia is obsession with overly healthy eating, and I generally think that orthorexia is just a part of anorexia. I think it's a neural setup of anorexia. I think that, well, I've never met a person with anorexia who doesn't also have orthorexia to some extent. And of course, everybody's different. So some people have really extreme orthorexia. Some people don't have extreme orthorexia. It's just kind of a bit of a niggle that's there. But I've not met a person with anorexia who doesn't have often an aversion to eating foods that are considered as high fat or unhealthy or high sugar, or actually just whatever unhealthy means. I've also met people with orthorexia who are not diagnosed or thought of to have anorexia, and I've talked to them for 3 minutes and been like, I think you have anorexia. Because the only reason that they have not been diagnosed with anorexia is because their body weight is not low. And if you understand that a person can have anorexia in any size body, then suddenly all the lines between orthorexia and anorexia get a bit less distinct, don't they? It's about dietary restriction a lot of the time, weight loss. It's almost like, I think, orthorexia.
Am I anorexic? I'm anorexic, right? Because I only eat once a day. That's anorexia. Is that what's happening here? I have orthorexia because I have an obsession with eating healthy food. Is that possible? How do we define obsession, and what do we define as healthy food? Also, if you can be anorexic at every weight, well, I guess that really like opens up the amount of potential clients that you can have for your imaginary disease that you're curing. Okay, enough being a dick. So the problem here is a poor definition of what constitutes healthy versus unhealthy food. That's the root of this problem. Okay, it has nothing to do with anything else other than poorly defined definitions of what is healthy and what is unhealthy. Okay, and this, I'm not sure, I don't want to say women are dumb, but like, this rarely affects men. Like, why does it not affect men? Why are men in the fucking gym? Why are 90% of people that go to gyms men? Why are they not anorexic, and why do they not have these like retarded beliefs about what is healthy and what is unhealthy? Like, why is this something that affects only women? Like, what's going on here? I don't understand. Is it again, I said this before, like, is it Cosmo? Is it fucking Sex in the City? Is it like all the like whatever you fucking nail polish? Like, what is it that you do with your time that leads you to believe that like being a skeleton is like a good thing? Okay, but anyway, that aside. The problem, like I said, is a poor definition of what constitutes healthy foods, right? In my opinion, healthy foods are animal meat, fucking beef, chicken, pork, fish, whatever, eggs, and to consume 90-ish% of your calories from those foods. And then the rest are like, let's say, complex carbs, fucking, I don't know, rice, oatmeal, whatever. And then have a little dessert afterwards, okay, if you want. That's healthy food, in my opinion. So I already know all these anorexic girls, orthorexia girls, whatever, their definition of healthy food is like fucking blueberries and kale and shit that like is basically fiber, water, and a little bit of sugar. That's healthy to them for some reason, because they do absolutely no research at all. They don't do any fucking athletic training at all, so they would never know that like they like, if you don't put yourself in a position where you have to perform athletically, then you're not going to know how the food that you're eating is affecting your performance, right? If you're not testing yourself in that way, you don't know that the fucking bowl of blueberries that you had is making you feel like shit because you have no like steak that you ate the night before to compare it to, right? Because you'll naturally think, okay, I did the same workout 2 days. One day I ate fucking blueberries. The next day I ate a steak or ate like actual normal human food. I felt much better when I did this as opposed to when I did this. Therefore, this is the better choice. There's no like, I guess women just don't, there's no pressure on them. There's no like evolutionary pressure on them for them to like work out essentially, right? Some of them do it because they like want the attention on social media, I guess, or want more attention from the people in their lives. But let's face it, like women, you guys, you don't need to do anything to get male attention. Like you can literally never work out a day in your life. And if you're genetically a good specimen or you starve yourself not to extremes, then you can have a decent body and still, even if you're fucking fat and disgusting, no offense, even if you're not attractive as a woman, you'll still get guys who like fall over themselves to do things for you and take you to dinner and buy you shit. And like, it's not, there's no evolutionary pressure there. Whereas men, you know, it's a little bit more competitive for us, right? So yeah, like so far not off to a good start, but
Orthorexia can be just a different diversion that the brain has taken to explain to them, why am I restricting these types of food? Because we're all different. Most people whom I've met with orthorexia also have an exercise obsession or some kind of compulsive element to movement as well. So I think that the two things are expressions of the same thing to start with. Now, what if a person recovers, or in other words, gains weight with having anorexia, and they do so without challenging any of the orthorexic tendencies? So they gain weight on a restrictive, healthy diet. I would then argue that that person is not fully recovered because the neural pathways in their brain are still...
I need to like, when I do these like eating disorder videos, I need to actually just like pre-record my opinions about like maybe 10 or 20 different things and just fucking play a clip every single time. Because like I'm repeating myself in every video. If we look at it from a practical standpoint, what is anorexia? It is a human being not getting enough nutrients, not getting the proper nutrients. That's what it is. That's why you look like a skeleton, okay? It's nothing, it's not fucking neural pathways. Like you are not putting the right foods in your mouth, chewing them and swallowing them. That is the problem, okay? You're not doing that, all right? Period. No fucking magical therapy session, like none of this other shit. That's the problem. To fix that problem, guess what you have to do? You pick the right foods, you eat them, and that's it. You repeat that for fucking 2 weeks, you're cured, or 48 hours even, honestly. In terms of an obsession with movement or exercise obsession, like I'm kind of obsessed with exercise. Like I don't fucking shut up about it. Maybe we have a different definition of that. But again, I think this just comes down to improper, like a poor choice when it comes to specific type of exercise. I highly doubt any of these girls do any resistance training at all. Probably like killing themselves with cardio, which is not like, it's not good for you. It's not like, I mean, you should do it. It is good for you if you're doing resistance training as well, right? Resistance training will build the muscle and metabolism and all that, which she hasn't mentioned. I doubt she will, because that's not her like business model. But it's the like resistance training that is what's going to like make you look better and feel better, not cardio, right? Maybe she says that in another video, I'm not sure. Oh God, all right, let's move on.
Still in place that tell them to restrict certain types of food and tell them that food is good and bad and all of that judgment around food. So I think it depends on what you think recovery is. If you think recovery is gaining weight, then I guess that you could say that a person with orthorexia is recovered from anorexia. If you think that recovery is not just gaining weight, that's crucial, but if you think that recovery is also losing all of the restrictive tendencies around food, all of the anxieties, all of the food rules, all of the rituals, all of the OCD, all of the compulsions, including exercise or anything else, if you think that that's recovered, then a person who has orthorexia hasn't recovered, they've just put on weight and kept all of the rules and restrictions and things like that. So I think...
God, I hate this video so much. Okay, so here's the deal. If you take something, right, and you make it sound a lot more complicated than it is, then you can build an entire industry around it. You can have professionals, like if all the orthorexia and anorexia was easy to solve by fucking doing what I say and like putting nutrient dense food in your mouth and swallowing it, which is actually the solution, that's actually the goal. If it was that easy, then there wouldn't be this entire industry. This person wouldn't have a job. If you make it this like extremely complicated, complex, romantic thing, that guess what? You can get all this attention, and like all you have to do is just sacrifice your health for a little bit. Like you're not gonna fucking go exercise anyway, right? So you might as well come to our therapy session because people will be nice to you. And, you know, I don't know, it's such a joke. But anyway, the point is that like if you make it a problem that's easy to solve, then you just fucking sold yourself out of a job. You know what I mean? Whereas if it's this like super complicated thing, then guess what? People have to stay in recovery and they have to stay in treatment, and they're never really cured. And like, unless, what did she say? Like, you have no restrictions on what you eat. Like, what? What is this? Like, you're telling people should have no restrictions on what they eat? You're a health professional, like, and you still have a license somehow? Like, how is that? How is this good advice for anybody? How about this, anorexic fucking skeleton girls of America who might be watching this? Choose the right foods, choose the right type of exercise, which, spoiler alert, meat, eggs, chicken, fish, resistance training, do those things. That's it. I just cured you, okay? If you actually want to get cured, do those things. Try my way, okay? You've tried your own way. You've tried fucking this girl with the beautiful eyes. You tried her way. It doesn't work. Okay? You're staying sick because you want to be sick and people want you to be sick. Try my way. Put food in your mouth and eat it and swallow it. That's it. And go to the gym and you take a weight, right? Say this is a weight, and you lift the weight and then you lower it and you lift it again and you do that. That's the exercise you should do.
That's also one of the reasons that people who have recovered on restrictive meal plans and overly healthy eating diets and balanced meal plans and all of that crap, if somebody has recovered, supposedly, via those means, I think that it just means that they put on weight, and the neural pathways of anorexia are still in place. And therefore, it's no big surprise that people who have recovered that way and still have all of these neural pathways in place relapse, in inverted commas again, because they never really recovered, right? They're more likely to relapse, and often do, and often find that they can hold on to the weight that they gained for a little while, but then after a while, just those restrictive tendencies get more and more and more, the compulsive exercise gets more and more and more, and they start to slide back down. And I know all about that because I did that little cycle. For years, I would try and gain weight via eating restrictively. And when I say restrictive, you can be eating a huge quantity of food and still restricting certain foods and trying to eat overly healthy. I could gain weight, and I would gain weight for a bit, and then I would gradually slide back down, and my restriction would increase, and my exercise tendencies would increase. That's because I wasn't challenging the neural pathways. I was keeping the anorexia neural pathways still intact. Okay, so here's an important aspect to consider to this. You can be eating a large amount of food and still restricting. So if I am eating, I could be eating 20,000 calories a day, but if I'm eating 20,000 calories a day of foods that anorexia likes and that fit into the orthorexia food set, I'm still restricting. I could be eating all of those foods, but if I really just wanted to eat donuts and burgers and fries, I was still restricting despite the fact that I was eating a large amount of calories.
I wonder, like, why is this eating disorder shit so appealing, right? Because these are at the end of the day, these are behaviors. Like, you have to understand, right? You are in control of your own behavior, okay? At the end of the day, you can sit and think to yourself, I'm present in this moment. I have control. I can choose to actually do whatever I want at any moment in time, okay? You can choose whether or not to eat something or not eat something. You can choose to fucking stand up and go outside and go for a walk. You can choose to fucking buy certain foods or go to the gym or fucking talk to somebody. Like, literally anything in your life you can choose, okay? So this whole like anorexia shit, like all this like fucking eating disorder shit, it appeals to people, in my opinion, who don't want to believe that they have a choice, right? When you redefine your conscious decisions as an illness or a disorder or some medical term, you immediately remove any sort of agency from those decisions. It's not you, it's the neural pathways. It's not you, it's your sickness. You know what I mean? And people who do that, like, honestly, like, I'm sorry to say this, maybe my opinion of these people is getting more harsh, but like I don't like, you're almost not even like human beings to me anymore. Like, if you don't believe that if you like let this like haze come over you and you actually believe that you have no control, I've said this before, you're not going to make it. Like, done, period, never, right? And that's assuming you're not actually trying to get better, right? If you just like have accepted the fact you're gonna be sick forever, you know? Anyway, I don't know who it appeals to, but like, what did she say before? I don't remember.
Calories. And because I'm still restricting.
20,000 calories a day with no unhealthy food. Okay, obviously like a random example. She has no idea what she's talking about. guess what? Restricting what you eat is good. That's a good thing. Like, women of America, like, you think you're supposed to just eat whatever you want? Like, hello? Like, no, you're not. You're actually not. You're supposed to actually restrict a lot of what you eat. Most of the food that you see in the grocery store when you do your shopping, you should not eat that food. Okay, you should be eating healthy food. Like, orthorexia is a good thing. Like, if you have orthorexia, that's good. You know what I mean? Just add some meat and eggs in there. Like, replace your fucking kale salad with a bunch of vegetables. Fuck, with meat, you know, and eggs. That's a good version of orthorexia. That means you will be healthy. Okay, like, restricting is bad. This is like the advice that's given to like impressionable girls now. It's like, being healthy is bad, okay? You're sick, you're gonna be sick forever. Don't listen to those health people who say that you should work out a lot and like choose healthy foods. No. Just be sick, you'll be sick forever. Eat whatever you want. Like, stay in this cycle of looking like a skeleton and a fucking balloon. That's good. That's what you have to do. That's the path to recovery. Oh, and by the way, it'll take years. So like, these like $100 therapy sessions that you're paying me for, be prepared to budget, you know, $5,000 a year for that. Okay. By the way, sign my check.
And still keeping the neural pathways of restriction there in my brain, and they will stay there until I challenge them, until I push past that fear of not restricting and I actually eat the food that I'm craving. And I think it does come back down to listening to and trusting your own body, because my brain was telling me, my anorexia brain was telling me that I needed to eat healthily, fruit and vegetables, only healthy fats and all that bullshit. And my body was saying, I want donuts and burgers and fries and pizza, and especially sweet things like chocolate. That's what my body was telling me. And guess what? My body knew better. And the whole time that I was resisting what my body...
God, this video is like, I shouldn't care, right? Why should I care what some fucking mentally ill people do on the internet? Like, I actually shouldn't care. Like, you wanna listen to somebody like this who says, what do you think they did before burgers and fries and pizza? What do you think they did? Like, before those foods existed? Because those foods haven't been around since like eternity. Okay, what do you think people did back then when those foods didn't exist? I want you to think about that. Okay, this is like an invention of modern society, that you have a fucking supermarket that you can go into and buy like 30 different kinds of frozen pizza. You think your body naturally is like craving that? Like, you're in nature, you're fucking living in your cave, and you're like, oh, pizza hasn't been invented. There's no such thing as a fucking hamburger. There's no like French fries, but I'm really craving them. Where's the supermarket? Why can't I eat them? I don't want to restrict myself in my fucking caveman diet. Like, this is so stupid. And again, like I said, I shouldn't care. I really don't care. Because like, at least these people are like identifying themselves as like mentally ill fucking, you know, people to stay away from, honestly. But yeah, like, at least you said burgers. At least you included burgers in there, right? Like, meat, finally. Somebody, like some eating disorder person, like mentions meat, even like casually. Doubt she was eating many burgers, maybe. But that's the secret. Like, I'm craving pizza because I'm starving myself on fucking skeleton food, so I'm gonna eat some pizza? What a joke. Oh, God.
Was telling me and thinking that I knew better, I was not getting healthy, I was not getting well. And so I think that orthorexia tends to jump onto, well, what's nutrition science saying? And what's all of these external influences that aren't actually my body? What are they telling me? And I'll believe all of them, every single one of them, I'm going to believe before I actually listen and believe my own body. Well, your body is in there. Your body's there. It knows what it's lacking. It knows what it needs. And so a huge part of recovery is saying, I'm going to lose my judgment. I'm going to lose my judgment over whether donuts are good or bad for me. And I'm just going to eat a fucking donut because that's what I want. And maybe I won't just eat one. Maybe I'll eat the whole packet. And maybe then I'll go and eat another packet. Because if that's what my body is telling me to do, then that's the right thing to do. No judgment.
This is so stupid. This is honestly what's wrong with America, is this attitude of entitlement. Like, so first of all, I said this in the Stephanie Buttermore video that I just did. Like, if your choice is to be a fucking skeleton who starves themselves, or a girl who fucking eats donuts whenever she feels like it, this is the better choice. Like, better to be the girl who actually eats as opposed to the skeleton. Okay, the skeletons are not good for in any way, really. Better, honestly, to be like a fat blob than a fucking skeleton. Okay, that's number one. So like, yes, is it a step up to go from skeleton to fucking girl with absolutely no boundaries with food whatsoever? Strangely, yes, it is. Is it the optimal choice? No. Is it even close to the optimal choice? No. Like, the only way that would be good is if you somehow accidentally are like in a situation where you just happen to like eat lots of meat, and like make the connection that like eating lots of meat is somehow you feel better and that's good for you, and continue to do it for an extended period of time because of your circumstances or something. But like, guess what, girls? You want to eat a fucking box of donuts? How about no? How about you don't eat that box of donuts? How about you eat some fucking meat? How about you eat some, and why? Because donuts have no nutritional value. They're not going to give your body what it needs. Yeah, if you look like a skeleton, fucking eat whatever you can. Okay, fine. But if given the choice, and by the way, you all have a choice, like I said, don't eat fucking donuts. What about eating healthy food that has more fucking nutrients in it? Like meat. Oh my God, I'm like a broken record at this point.
And no negotiating, no ifs or whats or buts or whens, just doing what your body asks you to do. The thing is that restriction is restriction is restriction, and orthorexia is restriction. But, you know, like all of that aside, there's something more to orthorexia as well, and that's that it makes you boring as fuck. It really does. Getting all obsessed with being healthy all of the time. I would know because I had that, and I was absolutely boring as fuck when I had that. And it just places so much limits on what one can actually say yes to and do. Somebody says, do you want to come down the pub for a drink? And you're all starting to already worry about, oh, well, there's alcohol. And of course, with a person with anorexia, there's calories in alcohol. But then the orthorexia tendency is, oh, well, that's just not good for me. And what's it going to do to my system and X, Y, and Z? Or if somebody says, do you want to come out for a meal? And you're so severely limited in where you can actually go because do they serve organic food at that restaurant? Can't go there if they don't. You know, like, is it a vegan restaurant? Is it gluten-free? What do they put in their bread? How do they make this sauce? Has it got non-GMOs? It's all restriction, really, and it's boring as fuck. And you know what? People get sick of it. A lot of people won't tell you that they're sick of it, but a lot of people don't want you to go on about it unless...
Oh shit. Fuck, I didn't mean to do that.
You get, and which is what I wrote my book Love Fat about, basically, was you join these diet clans, don't you, of people who are also obsessed with non-GMO or gluten-free or whatever your orthorexic tendency is. You join groups of those people, because those are the people that aren't going to get bored to shit of your bullshit. And so I think that's one of the really damaging parts of orthorexia. If we take away all of the restriction stuff, and we take away all of the physical things, and we even take away a lot of the psychological things and just take it down to the social aspect, it places so many limitations on who you can be and what you can do, what you can say yes to, if your life and everything, all this importance is placed...
Okay, so like, first of all, you can get a steak like anywhere, right? You can get meat anywhere. Okay, if you only eat, so first of all, limiting your foods, that's good. Also, by the way, you know, ladies, you should limit your foods. Like, you shouldn't fucking eat trash, donuts, pizza. Like, those foods should never actually be consumed. If you have healthy habits in place, like fucking exercise, and you limit your eating frequency and you eat a lot of meat normally most of the time, yeah, go ahead, go have pizza with your friends, go have a fucking drink at the pub, like go have a fucking crazy night out and get hammered and fucking go eat like a disgustingly like 2,000 calorie breakfast like at 5 in the morning with your friends. Big deal. You know why? Because you have these other healthy habits in place to balance the stuff that you're doing on the other side. It's fine. You're not going to get fatter. You're going to look exactly the same. Okay. But if you're at the point where like you're so obsessed with like what you eat that like you can't have, you know, the food unless it's like GMO free or like whatever, I don't even know, like all the shit she was saying. Okay, fine, that's bad. But honestly, like that, the only people that have those obsessions are people who are basically anorexic anyway, right? That's like, if that's the definition of orthorexia, like, again, like I said, it really just comes down to improper food choice, right? Like you should, like, okay, use myself as an example. If I am invited to go somewhere and eat something, I mean, I know pretty much that I can get fucking chicken or a steak anywhere, right? I know that, you know what I mean? So I'm not at the point where I'm like, oh my God, like, is it gluten-free chicken? Like, oh, I don't know. I don't care, because I know that basically like every fucking restaurant has chicken or steak or fish or something. And that's enough. That's like, you know, but in terms of like, is that restrictive? Yeah, it's pretty restrictive, because that's like 5 potential things that you can order compared to like thousands of food choices that you have. In terms of like going and having a drink, I mean, I don't like to drink casually unless I'm with people who are very important to me, or people I haven't seen for a very long time, or the situation really just like calls for it and it would kind of be weird to not have a drink. Then I'll have a drink. I'll have a couple drinks. I don't fucking care. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? But most of the time, I don't have a drink people offer me. 9 times out of 10, people ask me if I want a beer, if I want a glass of wine. I say no. Why? Because I know that's just not healthy. I don't fucking need that. I'd rather have more food. I'd rather have more meat. You know, and if I drink alcohol, I'm not going to eat as much food. So like, am I like a high functioning orthorexic person? I don't know, maybe. I fast sometimes. Am I a skeleton now for some reason? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe my definition of it is just wrong. I'm not sure.
On is this healthy or not? And the saddest part about that, the saddest part, is that nutritional science is so in its infancy that all of this stuff on what's healthy and what's not healthy, it's all just suggestion at this point. Nutritional science really knows very little. And when you consider that humans have been eating food since humans have existed, and arguably done a better job when we knew less about what was supposedly healthy and not, it's just really sad. It's really sad to me that I spent so much of my life, so many years, obsessing over what was healthy and what was not, when I really should have just been down the pub, having a pint and a pie.
All right, so that at least, that last point she made, that's a fair point. Nutritional science is a fucking joke, and you should never, I don't want to say you never listen to anything those people say, but like, most of it you can take with a grain of salt because it's too isolated, and most of the studies, they're awful just in so many ways. And like she said, human beings, we generally did better when we didn't know anything. That also coincided with a time where there were no supermarkets and processed foods that, you know, hit our fucking like pleasure triggers in our brain that made us binge on them and turn into fucking 700-pound fat pieces of shit. Okay, so like, is it that there's no, we didn't know as much, or is it that like technology progressed and, you know, it became much more profitable and able to like get a lot of power by creating a corporation that makes unhealthy shit food to like prey on fat, stupid people who have no self-control anyway. Okay, so I guess her message, I guess at the end of the day, maybe was I a little harsh on her? It's possible, maybe. Because I guess now that I hear it, her message is basically like, stop fucking crying about it like a little bitch, eat what you want. But what seems to be missing from this is and this is missing from all this eating disorder shit, is emphasis on eating most of your calories from meat and eggs and foods that are actually calorie dense, and like eating a bunch of donuts because you feel like it. I mean, that's good advice for a healthy person. But for a sick person, for a skeleton, I would say, why don't you eat meat, specifically meat, because that will get you on the track to being a healthy person. And then once you have like the proper habits in place, like once you've mastered the fundamentals, like once you learn the rules, you can break them without crying about it and fucking calling your counselor. Okay, so thank you for telling me to watch Tabitha. Tabitha, I'm sorry I was so hard on you in this video, but I disagree, and it's like my 6th video today. I'm a little testy. Anyway, if you guys have any comments, questions, let me know. If you have comments, questions, let me know. Also, you have more suggestions, leave me a comment. Peace.